we brought this up earlier. Aaron Rodgers seems like he has all the momentum to win the MVP award. And Rob, he would be the first back-to-back MVP since Peyton Manning back in 2008 and 2009.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's to be about 11 years, 11, 12 years. So good for Rodgers if he holds on and wins it. But we brought this up, Rob. Do you think, and actually I think, a caller brought up Tom Brady and his shenanigans in last week's game.
Right.
And whether he thought that could hurt him in the voting. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers lying to the media, telling us he was immunized when he wasn't? He can try to make it a play on words all he wants, but no, he was lying to the media, and then he kind of, tried to double down on it and all that. Do you think that and the fact that he did miss a game because he's not vaccinated and they lost that game to the Chiefs, do you think those things could work against him?
I think it's the exact opposite, to be honest. I think the difference was, and I think
that they worked for him?
Well, him not playing in that game was a loss to the Chiefs, right? Wasn't like they won without him. And they still have the best record. And when he's played, if you take that loss off his record since he didn't play, since he lost the opener, he's only lost one game all year, is what I'm saying.
Well, he'd be 11-1.
Right.
So, or 11-2. 11-2.
Right? If you take away the first, just say the first game, he's only lost one game. But he's lost one game since then, is what I'm saying.
He's 11-2.
Right.
I mean, let's call it what it is.
Right, but I'm saying, but
let's take away the second loss too.
No,
if you take away that, he's 11-0. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you can't take it away.
No, my point is because that was such a stinker.
You can take away the Chiefs game because he didn't play, but that's it.
Since then, he's 11-1, is what I'm saying. And I don't think people look at. I don't.
You know what? Since Sunday, Tom Brady's 0-0. I mean, no, I will not let you sit here and take away that loss. He's the MVP front runner.
Since then, he's 11-1.
Why since then?
Okay, can we get to the point? You just have.
I'm just asking you why since then.
Because that was so bad and so terrible. I don't know how many people thought after week one. I remember me and I got into it with. Who did I get into it with about Aaron Rodgers? Because he was questioning whether he wanted to play. Whether or not he was all the way in.
One of our guests, right? I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, who was it?
But my point is just
my point
he's
is
11-2 as a starter.
Okay. So I think that I don't think that hurts him. I think it helps his cause that they lost that game when he wasn't.
But what
there.
about the vaccination
and the
lies?
vaccination thing? I don't think, Chris. I really don't think that. Did he lose some respect for some people? I think so. But I told you before, Barry Bonds had a terrible relationship with the writers and won 7 MVPs voted on by the same people he despised. I mean, isn't that a testament?
Right. No doubt.
That's a testament. Barry Bonds had 0 time for us. Seriously. And yet, he was so good that the writers voted him 7 times MVP. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be hurt by the writers in that. They'll be hard pressed, Chris, to consider themselves that they're looking the other way when this guy has led his team to the best record in the league, has 4 picks and 40 touchdowns, and then you didn't vote for him for MVP. I think your credibility would be questioned.
I do agree with you. I would not hold it against him if I were a voter. If this was the NBA and where I have a vote, I would not hold that against a player.
Because you said that about Harden. I remember last year you said you didn't like the way he went about it, but if he were to ball out and he was playing real well, you would have voted, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, and I think Harden is even different, Rob. Like, I do see why people would have held that against James Harden because it was during the season, Rob. Right? The lies about the immunization, that doesn't affect your play. It really doesn't. You could say it affected that he didn't play the one game, but there are a lot of guys who aren't vaccinated. Lamar Jackson and on and on, right?
The league is filled
Kirk
with
Cousins, right? So I think it was even more legitimate to hold it against James Harden.
Okay.
Because that was during the season. There were games. It was only a small amount, maybe 3 or 4, I believe, where he just kind of played, half speed. So I get that. Like, at least whether it was a small amount or not, there were games where he just wasn't giving his all. And so I get that. But this situation with Aaron Rodgers, no matter how much you don't like it, it really doesn't affect the play. And what we're supposed to judge these guys on is play, not whether you like them personally
or not,
not what their personal life is. Because obviously you got guys on both extremes. You got the Saints and you got the real rampant sinners in the league, right? And so
who have beat up women, all kind of drug abuse, vehicular homicide. You can go on and on and on.
So I think you just got to look at it like, what's the guy doing on the field? And so I wouldn't hold that against Aaron Rodgers. All right, Rob, speaking of the field, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and you said you were on this radio in L.A. today, or no, you weren't on the radio, but you were listening.
Right.
And a lot of the talk was about Matthew Stafford. Now, Rob, I think there were 2 snubs at the quarterback position.
Oh, okay.
I think Lamar Jackson being on the AFC team over Josh Allen. Some might even say Joe Burrow. I don't think he deserved it over either of those 2. And then Kyler Murray making it over Matthew Stafford. I think Murray was more deserving than Lamar, but I don't think Murray should have made it over Matthew Stafford. Like, I think Matthew Stafford had to be on that team. And I'm going to give you a quick stat breakdown, Rob. Just quick. Matthew Stafford has 35 touchdown passes. Kyler Murray has 20. And they both have 10 interceptions. So they got the same amount of interceptions, and Matt Stafford has 15
How many
more
rushing touchdowns?
Stafford has no rushing touchdowns, but I think Kyler only has 3. I'll check to make sure, but I'm pretty positive that Kyler only has 3. And, Rob, Kyler has missed 3 games, and they went 2-1 in the games he missed.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been 1-2 since he got back. And since he got back, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his 3 games. As far as rush TDs for Kyler Murray, he's got, as I said, he's got 5. All right, he's got 5. So he's got 25 touchdowns total.
Touchdowns,
Stafford's got 35. So he's still got 10 more touchdowns.
Okay.
So I think that's a huge snub. Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Wow.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Wow.
And I'm going to tell you why. The Arizona Cardinals were the last undefeated team. They won their first 7 games, and he looked spectacular. He came into L.A., blew out Stafford and the Rams on their home field. They were 7-0, and he was playing as well as can be.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, he was playing really well. I mean, he was playing well. His name was mentioned. They were off to a great start. And they won some really good games.
Some of those games they won, he wasn't that great.
Okay. The reason I think Stafford came in with high expectations, Chris, and halfway through, he turned into a pumpkin. He turned into the guy that everybody went, that's the guy I saw in Detroit. Wait a minute. Everybody was saying it was Detroit. It wasn't Stafford. He threw 3 pick sixes, Chris, in 3 straight games. 3, one each game. Which people had to go back to Matt Schaub as the last quarterback to throw 4 in 4 straight games. The one in 4 straight games. And I think people looked at those games and said he played badly. He had turnovers. He couldn't hold on to the football. He had a couple of games, Chris, of that 3-game losing streak where he had two interceptions, and people started to look and say the only way this thing isn't going to work is if Stafford doesn't play well, and they saw him not play well.
Well, the defense wasn't playing well either.
No, but they saw him not play well against the good teams, and I think that's what hurt him. The losses, and then he wound up coming back and beating Arizona, Chris. So I'm going to give him credit for that.
And Tampa,
played well.
We beat Tampa early.
But I'm saying
you can't say he didn't play well. There were two. He's beaten two really good teams.
No, I got that. But that 3 in a row and how poorly he looked, I think really did damage. And people started to say, this is the guy people were saying was going to be the MVP. You remember the Stafford talk? They were 7-1. So they looked at it and went, look at his numbers. They were rolling. They were 7-1. And then what happened? They played 3 really good teams and got their teeth kicked in.
Rob, you just sat here talking about Aaron Rodgers, saying how when you do it late in the season, positive or negative, it makes a difference. I mean, well, what's happening late in the season? Kyler Murray has gone 1-2, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks in the last 3 games, and Matthew Stafford is lighting it up. Matthew Stafford has 8 touchdowns, 1 pick in his last 3 games.
So why do you,
was great against Arizona. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it's a major snub.
I'm asking you, why do you think he's getting snubbed? I'm giving you the reason. I want you to.
I think Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray had a lot of momentum early. So I think that played into it. I do think I'm just saying I don't disagree necessarily with everything you said. I do think the 3 games with the 3 straight pick sixes and 3 straight losses hurt him. I agree with that. My point is just that it's not justified. That should not hold him back. You don't judge it on 3 games. You judge it on the whole season. And Murray's missed 3 games. That's a whole nother thing, Rob. And I'm going to throw this at you as a reason, too. I think that a lot of voters just go on reputation.
Well,
how in the world did Lamar make it? You know?
And there's some of that. And I think also that when you talk about Lamar and Kyler, they're the quarterbacks of the future. Like I do believe that, Chris, and I do believe that they've gotten the benefit of the doubt where Stafford is year 13. He's not the future. He's never been. I don't think he was ever picked for to be a starter on the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl.
Not a starter, yeah.
Right, but to be picked, I think he was an alternate one time in 12 years, Chris. One time, and Calvin Johnson went to the Hall of Fame in his first ballot,
right,
and went to the Pro Bowl many times. So I'm trying to tell you, like, it ain't just that you didn't win because your other guy went to the Pro Bowl, right, and he got in. So people didn't look at Stafford that way, and I just think he reverted back to where people said, maybe he ain't that good.
I get it, but that's 3 games. Like, I'll give you another example of somebody I don't think should have made it, and he is a tremendous football player. But Alvin Kamara. Kamara's only played 10 games. Right. He's got 38 receptions. He had 83 last year. He's had over 80 every other year in his career.
So that was reputation problem.
Yeah. I mean, so I just think that has something to do with it as well. Murray made it last year. And, he, like you said, he's viewed as one of these great coming quarterbacks for the next several years. And so they kept with that momentum. All right,